And the planer is the only machine in the shop that is specifically intended to do what operation? Change thickness, all right? And we plane down to finished thickness. And it doesn't have blades, it has knives. It has a cutter head that runs right through here and has 3 knives in the cutter head. And it is the only machine in the shop that is an automatic feed. Meaning that there are some drive rollers in there. You feed your piece in from this side, the rollers grab it, and they pull it through. Sometimes you have to help it a little bit. The rollers may slide a little bit. But the rollers draw through, and then the planer takes off a little at a time. Now, with this machine, you cannot go right to finished thickness in just one pass. At least usually you can't. You know, if I'm going to the table saw and I'm going to rip a piece of finished width, and if I have, say, 3 inches to rip off, I can take that amount off. I can take off any amount I want as my waste piece here. But at the planer, you only skim off a little bit at a time because it's hard work. It faces a lot of resistance when it's cutting all the way across the width of the face of a piece. Creates a lot of shaving, so you must operate the dust collector when we run the planer, okay? And so, but with the planer, I'll go ahead and I'll make probably just a couple of passes here. What we do is the following. In general, here's how it goes. It has an in-feed side and an out-feed side. The side where the switch is and the name of it and everything, this is the in-feed side. I've hooked up dust collection, and I'll fire that up in just a little bit, okay? And so, but what we do is this, the planer is adjustable. I mean, you can plane a piece all the way down to 1/4 inch. You can also plane a piece, see how far I'm opening that? We can plane a piece that is 6 inches thick. So you can take a piece of lumber from 6 inches all the way down to 1/4 inch if you want. And so it's adjustable by this hand wheel, all right? Now, when I set for the first cut, this black piece of steel right here, right underneath where the number 15 is, that's an important piece. That's what's called your gauge plate. And what we do is this, when I set for the first run, is I put my piece under the gauge plate, I drop the gauge plate, boom, right on it. So my cutter head is hard against it right now, I can't go down any lower. So we drop the gauge plate right onto the piece, and then from there, I come up a half a turn. Okay? I come up a half a turn. Once I've come up my half a turn, and I'm going to make just a couple runs here without the dust collector so we can hear it. From there, now the drive rollers are going, the cutter head's going. As I feed it in, it takes it on its own, and it feeds the piece through. Alright? Now, for however many pieces I have, I'd continue running. So let's say I had 4 pieces that were all going the same thickness. I'd run them all on this one setting before I changed them. Now, from one setting to another, so once I have a bunch of pieces planed down, or in this case one, and if I want to drop down a little thinner, I can do that. So if I go counterclockwise, that lowers the cutter head. Okay? So as I lower the cutter head, I drop them from here to there. Now I'm set for my next run, and I can run them all again. Okay? Now, we're going to try and wrap this up relatively quickly. Workpiece requirements. 12 minimum and no knots. 12 minimum and no knots. If we get the settings and preps for the planer. Okay? For the first run, as we mentioned, the gauge plate hits it, you come up a half a turn. Okay? Then, we want to go with the grain, and what that means is you kind of want the grain to be coming up and away, because the face that gets planed is the top face. So when I feed this in, the face that's up, that's what gets planed. So as we feed in, we like the grain kind of turning up, and I'll kind of show you more of that in the future. But you want to go with the grain. And then procedure, as we said, once I'm set for the first run, I fire it up, feed the piece in. And then for the next runs, what we do is this. We have to drop the cutter head down. The maximum amount you can lower the cutter head, each pass is a half a turn. That's the maximum amount. And I'll tell you right now, a third of a turn is better. So after the first run through, you drop the cutter head a third to a half of a turn for each successive pass. Okay? I think we're going to get a bell in a minute. So we're going to pack up.